uh, starting spot in that 11. And when they realized that he was building actually something quite interesting, they gave him the job until the 2019 Copa America. I really do feel like this could be it. There's a cohesion around this team. Not just the fact that it is actually pretty good and we haven't lost in 35 games, but also the fact that this team has a mentality, that's really strong, and they built this up for so long.
The king once said, "It's now or never," and it's time for the king to take his crown. Can Messi have his last dance and deliver his country the trophy they crave? It kind of feels like it's written in the stars. I hope I haven't just jinxed it. In a group with Saudi Arabia, Mexico, and Poland, they will have their eyes on the prize. Here with me to talk all things Albiceleste is Argentinian football expert, journalist, and host of the Hand of Pod, Santiago Bauza. I hope I said that right. Welcome to the show, Santiago. How are you?
Well, first off, thank you so much for the invitation. You almost got it right. It's Bauza. Like with
Bauza, damn. I forgot the accent.
You got it pretty good. Yeah. But you got it pretty good apart from that. So
thank you.
I'm glad.
Good. So whereabouts are you calling us from, Santi?
So I'm in Buenos Aires at the moment. Actually, I'm at work. Getting the call. So yeah, I'm pretty excited.
Very good. I like it. So, within Argentinian football, just kind of a side question: which team do you support in Argentina? Are you Boca? Are you River?
Neither of them. I'm an Independiente fan, who are actually like the best from the rest in a way. They're the team, of course, that produced Sergio Agüero, for example. They have won more Copa Libertadores than anyone, even Boca. So
nice.
I mean, they're going through some really tough times right now, but yeah.
That was also the team that Forlan played for. Did Forlan play for Independiente as well?
Yep, exactly. Yeah. He came through the youth ranks at Independiente as well. And they also beat Joe Fagan's Liverpool in the Intercontinental final in '84.
Nice. So all I remember is the red and white. Is the red with the white sash, right? Is that Independiente?
Exactly. No. That's no. That would be like Ribos River. We're just red with a few white, details.
So, nice. So yeah, I like it. Well, you're creating Sergio Agüero and Forlan. Atletico Madrid will be very thankful to you, I imagine. Very thankful.
Oh, yeah.
Nice. So it's time to talk World Cup, and we're here to talk about, I think, one of the favourites for the competition. But before we get there, how was the qualification process for Argentina? I know that kind of the reputation for the South American qualification is that it is very, very tough, having to go to places like Bolivia. It's all in one league. Like, it is one of the hardest qualification processes. How did Argentina find it?
Well, shockingly, Argentina have gone through an extremely smooth qualification process in South America. I mean, it's been one that's been really difficult in a couple World Cup cycles. Argentina actually qualified by the skin of their teeth to the 2010 and 2018 World Cups, like in the final day of the competition. Those worries were not present at all in this World Cup cycle. Argentina actually got some important wins as well. They got their first win in Ecuador and Bolivia since the 2006 World Cup cycles, which were really, really, really important while building the team that's currently one of the most I would say one of the most improved in South America by far. They actually ended the qualification process unbeaten. And of course, they did play only once against Brazil because the other game had to be suspended when all that crazy stuff happened in September, when the Brazilian authorities tried to cancel the game because there were a couple of Premier League players who were remember that?
Yeah, I do remember that now. Yeah. I feel like there's always some chaos in the South American qualifying campaign, right? There's always a bit of chaos, I think.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You can be absolutely sure that there will always be some sort of chaos. Well, of course, what's been drawing the headlines is the whole Ecuador-Chile incident, with that player who was apparently born in Colombia, but Chile tried to get Ecuador kicked out of the World Cup because of that. That's not going to happen at this point, I think. So
No,
yeah,
I think it's a bit late in the day now.
yeah.
But it's time to talk about the man in charge. Now, both Serie A and Premier League fans will be familiar with him. He spent some time in East London playing for West Ham, and he spent some time in Bergamo playing for Atalanta, and of course talking about Lionel Scaloni. Now, he's been in the Argentina setup since about 2017, so he's been in the job for a while. How do the Argentinian fans feel about him? What is his philosophy towards football?
I think there's been a massive turnaround in Lionel Scaloni's reputation. Of course, he arrived after that whole 2018 debacle, basically because at that time, of course, Sampaoli had been fired after all that stuff that went through. The whole, almost the players almost set up a mutiny against him, and Scaloni was back then the only sort of link between them and Sampaoli. So the AFA, when they realized that there weren't a lot of Argentine managers who were interested in taking the job, they gave it on an interim basis to Scaloni, who was back then the only manager who was employed by the AFA back then.
Okay.
So by the time the World Cup ended, he actually managed for the first tournament that he managed was an under-20 tournament in Spain, which he actually won with a really depleted squad and stuff. So they gave him the job on an interim basis until the end of 2018. And in that time, I think when you look back, he made a lot of progress in trying to replenish a little bit the Argentinian squad, which by 2018 was an extremely aging squad. He bled some new. Well, I don't know how to say this. Like, he introduced a lot of new players to the squad. Some of them who are not exactly in the general radar of the Argentine fan, or at least not that you would expect for them to make the national team. The likes of players who are no stalwarts like Marcos Acuña, Rodrigo de Paul, even Leandro Paredes in a way. Giovanni Lo Celso was probably in and out of the squad in 2018. He played 0 minutes in Russia, but he gave them starting spot in that 11. And when they realized that he was building actually something quite interesting, they gave him the job until the 2019 Copa America. And back then, that was a pretty mixed campaign. Argentina almost was knocked out in a group stage.
Wow.
But eventually they progressed and they went to the semifinals, and they actually played their best football against Brazil in that semifinal. But eventually Brazil beat Argentina, and that would be the last game that Argentina would lose up to this point, which is absolutely crazy.
Wow,
crazy.
That's insane.
So,
That's insane. Yeah.
Exactly. So, of course, the team began to grow like very steadily. They began to find their feet. He began to find his own players as well. In the meantime, they some great talents emerged, like Emiliano Martinez, who was, of course, kind of a household name in England before he became Argentina number one. But now he has grabbed onto that spot. Cristian Romero as well. Someone who also, you might also know him from his time at Atalanta, where he was brilliant before he also made his Argentina debut by the time that 2021 Copa America started. And he achieved something huge in that tournament, which is not only to win the first silverware for Argentina in 28 years, but also to do it in Brazil at the Maracanã in such a contentious tournament, which was originally going to be hosted by Argentina and Colombia, but was then stripped and taken to Brazil because of the COVID-19 situation, which a little bit left the Argentinian players with a sense of okay, they've stripped the tournament away from us. Now let's try to snatch it away from them. Which
you need to take it back, right? You need to take it back. I like it.
It's actually coming home.
Yeah, exactly. And how would you describe his style of football? What type of football do Argentina play?
Well, during that 2021 Copa America campaign, there was this, meme going around social media in which the general, tactical setup of Argentina was trying to, in the first few minutes, they would, press really, really high, try and get the ball, get a lot of chances. Then they would score a goal, and then they would do
Mhm.
absolutely nothing for the rest of the game and try to see it out.
Okay. Right.
Uh, so that was like the joke around that specific Copa America. When they won it, I think that gave them a lot more trust in themselves and
Mhm.
what they can actually do on the ball. So I would actually argue that Argentina's best games have come after they won the Copa America. For example, a
Wow.
3-0 victory against Uruguay, or that recent finalissima against Italy, which was, they played the Italians out of the pitch, I would say,
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
by, controlling ball, getting a lot of chances, giving Messi a lot of freedom, which is something that
Mhm.
previous Argentinian managers had not done before. Back then, Messi was, trying to reach the ball in the middle of the pitch, and players would always look for him to finish all the chances and, be the one who starts and finishes all the attacking moves.
Mhm.
While this Argentina side is actually more cohesive. They have a lot of players who can actually take up the mantle by themselves. The likes of the Paul and Lo Celso, Lautaro Martinez. Di Maria has
Mhm.
also grown a lot by switching from the left to the right of
Mhm.
the attack, which has benefited him greatly. Uh, and of course, in defense, they also, try to defend quite high up the pitch. But in case the going gets tough, they do have some very, very solid defenders in like the last ditch kind of last ditch situations, like Otamendi and Cristian Romero, and now even Lisandro
Mhm.
Martinez, who is
Yeah.
really fighting for a spot on the back line for a while. But yeah, it's improved. I think Argentina's style of play over the years and over the months.
Very now, honestly, just going through those names, and you're like, this is an incredible squad that is shaping up.
Yeah.
Now, we're not going to talk about Messi too much because obviously it's Messi, right? But what players would you think that people who maybe haven't seen Argentina too much or haven't watched Argentinian football, which players do you think they might discover this tournament that they might realize how good they actually are?
Okay, I'll try to refrain from players based in Serie A and the Premier League
Hmm.
because
Yeah, yeah, no,
I
that's
mean
fair. Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
feel like you've been covering them enough. So I mean
Yes,
it would
quite
be obvious for
possibly.
me to say like Romero and
Hmm.
Martinez and those kind of players. I will actually I would like to mention Giovanni Lo Celso, who's been receiving a lot of flack from
Hmm.
English-based
Yeah,
fans because of the fact that I think he had some really unfortunate circumstances at Tottenham. He was signed by Pochettino, but then Pochettino was sacked almost immediately
yeah,
after he was signed.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, I mean, and the managers he's had since then have been managers who do not like the kind of player that he is.
Hmm.
But he is a player who is so technically gifted and so
Yeah.
smart, and he actually links up so well with Messi, trying to build. He's like his partnership with Messi was, I think, one of the main attacking outlets for Argentina during
Wow.
that Copa America and the games that they have played since. He's a brilliant, brilliant, brilliant player, and I think he will really shock a lot of people who have actually put him down over the years because of the fact that he couldn't get a game with Tottenham, and
Hmm.
that those Champions League semifinals with Villarreal have already proved that game against Liverpool, for example, where he was
Yeah.
brilliant. They have proved in
Yeah.
a way
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
he can actually do it in those scenarios and against those kind of some teams. So that would be one of them. And I would also like to mention someone who is probably not a starter necessarily, but is someone who is key in this team right now. Someone who you will also know as well, but who is probably flown under the radar a little bit. That's Papu Gomez, who is actually
Yes. What a player,
he's
man.
34,
Yeah.
35 years old, who is
Yeah.
but is still such an energetic and creative
Hmm.
player. And for Argentina to have him as a substitute, as like an impact sub, I think it speaks about how big and how talented this squad actually
Yeah.
is. And he's so versatile as well. He can play in midfield. He can play on one of the wings. And he's not phased by his age. He's so energetic. I think he can be really, really important, even if he doesn't play exactly a lot of minutes in this current squad. So yeah, I'm actually quite impressed with him every time he steps on a pitch for Argentina.
Yeah, he was incredible for Atalanta. Just one of the most exciting players in Serie A
Yeah.
for such a long time, and a player that I think I'm really excited to see again because I've not seen him since he was at Udinese, and I'm really upset it's not going as well for him at Atleti. But Rodrigo de Paul is
Yeah.
such a good player. I'm really excited to see him in this Argentina team. I
Yeah.
think he's been
Actually,
quite a
Argentina
key
is
player as well, right?
Yeah, Rodrigo de Paul has been kind of like the engine in this Argentina side. He was actually the one who assisted Di Maria with that incredible long pass in the final against Brazil for his goal. He's actually been getting a lot of stick from Argentina fans because of some stuff that he's been involved off the pitch, some romantic scandals and that kind of stuff. So Argentines are a little bit losing patience with him. They want him to perform at the World Cup, or else they will turn on
God
him.
knows what. Yeah.
But yeah, every time, at least even if he's not been at his best at Atletico Madrid, I would argue that not a lot of players are at their best at Atletico Madrid. But he has never disappointed for Argentina. Every time he has put on the Argentina shirt, he's been one of the best players on the pitch. And I would hope and I would expect for that to carry on, because his energy, his effort, and his ability to actually bring the ball up from the back alongside Leandro Paredes has been one of the main components of this Argentina side.
Very nice. Good. So before we get your bold predictions for the tournament, the last question is what would make a successful tournament for Argentina? I think I might know the answer, but what would make a successful tournament?
Look, actually, I don't know what to say exactly, because, Argentines have a little bit of a warped kind of idea of what success means at the international stage. It's like, there's this thing that we probably expect Argentina to go far or even win tournaments, when they actually haven't done that. They hadn't done that before the Copa America in 2021 since 1993, which is a little bit weird. You're expecting the best all the time, but you've been close, but you haven't, grown accustomed to winning. But after we have won the Copa America and that finalissima against Italy, now the expectations are a lot higher. Of course, optimism is higher as well. I actually would argue that I don't remember a World Cup which Argentines have been so optimistic about. But the thing is, we are a little cautious with our optimism as well, even if I say that we're so optimistic, because the last time we've probably been so optimistic about Argentina was 2002. And we all know how that ended up.
Yeah.
So given how superstitious Argentina fans are as well, we try to be a little bit muted about our expectations and our optimism. So I will also try to be a little bit muted about it. So I would say, if we reach the semifinals, that would be a big success. The final, even more so. But if we win it, if we win the World Cup, that would be absolutely crazy, wouldn't it? Especially for my generation. I'm 23 years old. I've never seen Argentina win anything before last year. So there's a whole generation.
If it helps being an England fan is much less fun, I'll be honest, it's much less fun. Nice. So we'll go for the bold predictions. So which team do you think will lift the trophy come the end of the tournament?
Jesus Christ.
I know, you can touch wood if you like. Or,
actually don't really like answering this question. But I will say that I would position Argentina as one of the main candidates for it to win it.
Yeah.
But Brazil also look really, really good.
Yeah.
Brazil just have so many alternatives. They have such incredible squad depth. I would argue that they have the same issue with Argentina, which is their fullbacks, which are not
Okay.
quite as talented as historical Brazilian fullbacks have been. I would argue even that Argentina has some slightly better fullbacks right now than Brazil, so maybe you could attack them through that area of the pitch. But still, yeah, I mean, a myriad of options in the attack and on midfield, even at centre back, goalkeepers. It's crazy. And I would also like to mention, like in Europe, I would also like to mention Spain, because it's a team that even if you wouldn't exactly, point this particular Spain squad as one of the old-time Spain squads, like in 2010 or something like that. I feel like they have a real siege mentality. They have a manager who can come off as a little bit crazy sometimes, like Luis Enrique, like with his press conferences and his petty answers. But I feel like that stuff has made this Spain team a really resilient team. I mean, no one expected them to be on the semifinals of last year's Euros.
No, that's true.
I will say that for sure. So I would be on the lookout for them and Germany as well. Even if they don't really have a striker, I would still be quite wary of Germany as well. I mean, probably England, based on their incredible talented players. But,
fingers crossed. Okay, nice. Next one. Who do you think will be top scorer of the tournament?
Top scorer. I mean, something that I need to consider is whether they have a group that would allow them to score this many goals. Yeah. So, I mean, in 2018, for example, it helped that England were drawn with Tunisia and Panama for Harry Kane to score as many goals as he did, for example.
Yeah, and get all the penalties. I mean, that's what he does, all the penalties. Yeah.
So, yeah, I have to think about it. I mean, in terms of, a big team and the rest of the teams being, more accessible, I would say probably Brazil. And if Richarlison is the starting striker in Brazil, then I wouldn't argue against Richarlison being the top scorer.
Wow. Nice. I like that as a show. I like that. Nice.
I mean, it depends on whether he's the starting striker. I mean, if that's, for example, Gabriel Jesus, then that would be Gabriel Jesus. It depends.
As an Arsenal fan, I really hope you're right. Who do you think will be the player of the tournament?
I really want to say Messi, man.
A lot of people have said it. If it helps, a lot of people have said Messi.
I mean, he was given the award in 2014, even when everyone knew that it shouldn't have been Messi. Even if he wasn't bad. He was actually quite good at that World Cup. But he wasn't exactly the player of the tournament. There were a couple ones that were better. But yeah, and even Messi probably looked completely, like he didn't want that award when he was given it to him. But I really feel like, I mean, even with the way Messi started the season, it feels like we got the old Messi back. He's so smart, he's probably the best player at PSG right now. That's no mean feat, considering they have also Kylian Mbappe and Neymar in that team. So So I mean,
he's absolutely killing it out there, and I think the football he's playing is amongst the best he's played. He's playing some beautiful football at the moment. It's incredible. Nice. Okay, last two. Here we go. The dark horse, the team that is going to surprise people the most.
Dark horse. Okay, that once again, groups will also have to be taken into account in here. So I am optimistic about Ecuador.
Nice. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. The thing with Ecuador is that they have a really young squad, and they have probably one of the golden generations. I would say, like there's this group of players born between like 1998 and 2002 who are all they've already torn it up in the under 20 game in South America. The likes of Moises Caicedo, Piero Hincapié, Pervis Estupiñán, Gonzalo Plata. They have a really talented group of players who haven't really reached their peak yet. They'll probably reach it next World Cup. But I would argue in favor of them for them to make actually a big impact at this World Cup. And the other team that I would actually tip to be probably an underdog or a dark horse is one of the rivals in the group, which is Senegal. So if it's not Ecuador, then actually I would like it to beat Senegal. The African champions, Sadio Mane's last World Cup probably, and they have a really talented squad. They probably don't exactly play at their strength sometimes, which is the one thing that keeps me from picking them ahead of Ecuador. But if it's not Ecuador, then I would argue that I would like it to be Senegal. They have a really talented squad, and they have some really, really good players.
Yeah, we covered the AFCON on our pod, and watching that Senegal team was an absolute delight. They're a very, very, with Koulibaly and Mane, and they've got a lot of very good players in that team. Nice. And finally, the last question, with your head, not your heart, where do Argentina finish the tournament?
Jesus. Look, I know you told me to think with my head, but in this kind of question, in these kinds of questions, it's impossible to not think with my heart. I really do feel like that this could be it, man.
Nice.
I really do feel like this could be it. There's a cohesion around this team, not just the fact that it is actually pretty good and we haven't lost in 35 games. But also the fact that this team has a mentality, that's really strong, and they built this up for so long. And there's such positivity around this team as well, which leads me to believe that this could be it, man. I can't say it with a lot of certainty. No one can, but who knows? It could happen.
I love it. I love it. I honestly think there's. I feel like it's written. I feel like it's been written for a while. I can feel it. And I do have a trip to Buenos Aires in the paperwork, in the pipelines, hopefully for Christmas. So I hope that if Argentina win it, the party will still be going on. I hope.
It may be the most wild or the most, gloomy
silent
Christmas ever.
yeah. Nice. Well, Santiago, again,
one end and the other, So
yeah, again, thank you for coming on. That's been great. I've really, really enjoyed talking all things Albiceleste with you. For our viewers and our listeners, if they want to keep up with your work or find you online, where can they find you?
Well, you can follow me at Santi_Bauza on Twitter, and you can also listen to me at the Hand of Pod podcast, where we discuss the happenings of Argentinian football every week, and the national team as well, of course.
Nice. That's a great pod name, by the way. I really love that pod name. Good work there. So, viewers and listeners, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button to follow to see our next World Cup preview video. We are aiming for all 32 countries. You will be able to see if we found all 32 or how close we got. So cross your fingers for us. We're working on it, and we will see you in the next video. Thank you again, Santi.